Welcome to Looking at Legal Stuff. Today we have part 2 in a roller coaster of a divorce case. In part 1, we had a hearing for a temporary parenting plan with a couple where mom says dad walked out on her 5 months ago and has left her with all the bills, including a $500 a month brand new 2024 car payment that's in her name for a car he said he had to have to get to work. Dad said he was waiting for child support enforcement to take the money out of his check, and it's not his fault she isn't getting paid. He's too busy spending $600 on cell phone games and visiting his new girlfriends to worry about that. Today we have part 2, where Dad has returned to petition the court for primary custody after an incident the prior weekend that led to blow-ups, calling the police on one another, and their daughter being charged as a runaway. We learn that Dad still isn't paying his child support and that all 3 children are having serious mental health struggles. But the biggest shocks come during Mom's testimony, where she not only admits she doesn't think she's capable of being a stable parent right now, but she also confesses to smoking weed with her 14-year-old daughter. There will be no Parent of the Year awards at this redneck rodeo. Let's watch.
Your Honor, Christina's Ederson, I'll speak out for you. I was scheduled to be in Jackson today on a matter which I actually continued the majority of it, but they have a permanency plan ratification that I have to get on Microsoft Teams for, which will only take 10 minutes. It's set for 11 o'clock. They notoriously run an hour behind, so hopefully it will land at noon and whenever Your Honor decides to take lunch. But I'm hoping Your Honor can accommodate me taking a quick break at whatever time it is they text me and tell me that it's going to be up next.
You have something come up that you need to deal with, just let us know and we'll take a recess or break for lunch or whatever can be done, and we'll at that point go ahead and try to accommodate you to let you take care of that matter, and then we'll resume your hearing after.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Your Honor, could I have the children are here to testify and the television is on out in the waiting room?
We need to go turn that
May I ask one of the officers to go turn that off? Thank you.
I assume that the rule is going to be requested, is that correct?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Rule has been requested. That means that anyone who's going to testify as a witness outside of the parties must go outside of the courtroom and remain outside of the courtroom until you're called to testify. You're not to discuss the testimony of any other witness with anyone until you yourself have finished your testimony. Counsel are under a continuing duty to ensure that the rule is complied with.
Your Honor, on the Wiley versus Winters matter, that is the one after this one, again, I anticipate there's 3 children there that Your Honor are going to have to, I believe, are going to be testifying in this case. So as a result, do you want me to, it would be okay if my clients and witnesses in the Winters case excuse themselves, or what?
Well, the Winters case is going to be after this case, and you're saying this case is going to take 2 to 3 hours. So at the very least, my opinion would be that they would be able to come back at 1:30, and then at 1:30 we'll see where we are and we can make that determination.
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. I think everyone that's a potential witness is outside of the courtroom, so if either side wishes to make an opening statement, now we'll do the time.
Yes. Your Honor. Your Honor, one client asked me to file this motion. He's very concerned about mostly his daughters who had some major issues with their mother and his grandparents. His son is a little younger, is kind of avoided most of the issues, but it's kind of caught in between. Specifically what occurred most recently, there have been numerous issues as I lay out in my motion, but over this past weekend, Miss Ingram had told Mr. Ingram to pick up the kids, I believe Thursday after school, and then on Friday started telling him she's coming to get them, take them back, and that he couldn't have them anymore. Shows up, kids say they don't want to go, so she calls the police officer. And officers did not intervene. The kids ended up staying the weekend. I understand he was on the weekend, but he just picked them up a day early per her permission. But they proceeded to have an exchange on the Sunday. They met at a gas station at a midpoint, and because my client anticipated some issues with the exchange happening, he called and asked for an officer to be present to make sure the exchange went all right. And apparently it took about 2 hours of the officer talking with the children and with the mother to get the children to go. And it ended up with one child going with the grandmother, one child going with the mother, and the mother telling the other child to go with her dad. So there's some major issues. And then overnight, we had the child that went with the mother run away multiple times, got arrested, now has a pending runaway charge, and was returned to her mother. We have issues where one of the daughters has been hit with a cane just yesterday, I believe, by the grandfather. Children are being subjected to mental and apparently physical abuse in the mother's care and in the care of her parents. The children want to stay with the father at this point in time. I think it's appropriate they stay with the father at this point in time. Ideally, one of the children is in counseling already. Like to get the others in counseling, try and work with some issues and figure out what is going on and why they don't want to be with their mother. I understand there's some issues with her having a paramour in the home and mental health issues on the part of one child. I don't really know exactly what's going on. I know the children, the older girls would like to have a chance, although they're slightly very nervous about it, but they'd like to have a chance to speak with you and let you know what's been going on. But, Your Honor, my client is fully capable of taking care of these children the majority of the time. He's capable of getting them to their school, not asking to move their school, even though he's not as close as the mother to the school. He can get them there. It's not a problem. And so we think that temporarily we need to place these children there.
Your Honor, you had a hearing in this case on February 26th where both parties testified. I do have, as an aside, I do want to bring the court's attention to the fact that even though Mr. Ingram appeared on the 26th of February of 2024 and participated in that hearing, he technically has not been served. We had sent the process to Hickman County for service. And after the hearing on February 26th, we received the return of service after that date stating that they had tried multiple times and that he did not get served. So technically, he has not been served. So I would appreciate counsel acknowledgement on the record that he has received copies of the pleadings and that there is a date certain of acceptance of service, because technically, there's no service in this case against Mr. Ingram.
Well, Ms. Ederson has filed pleadings on behalf of him, so under the rules, she's made an appearance on his behalf, so it seems to me that the issue of service or process is kind of a moot issue.
Right, but again,
Do you have any questions about that?
No, Your Honor, I told Ms.
Roberts.
Roberts on Tuesday that I would accept service on his behalf. That was not an issue.
Well, we're going to show that the appearance that Ms. Ederson has made by filing pleadings in this case and the notice of appearance that she filed on April the 29th constitutes an appearance by the defendant or the respondent in this case, and therefore the issue of service process is moot.
Okay. And again, it was just a scenario. We had a hearing. He was present. He obviously had notice of the hearing, and I did not advise the court on the 26th that there was no service because I did not know that there wasn't service when he appeared. And so I just wanted to clear that for the record and make sure that it's clear that he has had adequate notice. But we did appear on February 26th, Your Honor, and both parties testified. Your Honor will remember that this is
I do remember.
it's less than a stable home life for these three children with either parent, and I will put my client in that situation as an officer of the court. Your Honor will recall that these parties had a home constructed for them through Habitat for Humanity, and that they were living in that home, that Mr. Ingram decided he did not want to be married. He was having some extramarital issues, and he had left the home, and that he is living with friends at, I believe it's Back Piney Road and that these friends that he lived with have 2 children of their own. It's a 3-bedroom home, and that he is sleeping on the couch. He works a job where he is gone from 6P to 6A. The children are in school in Dixon County, where they're zoned, where the mother is at the residence that the parties own jointly. He has gone out of town a number of times, and even this weekend he has gone and found another online paramour, as we understand it, from North Carolina. That individual has been here, and he left just a few days ago, I think, to carry that young woman back to her home, who's been in the home. But these 3 children are, for lack of a better way to put it, lost souls. The only stability that these kids really have had is with the maternal grandmother, who has attempted to provide some modicum of stability and consistency for these children. Your Honor ruled at the time specifically that the wife had possession of marital residence, and that her parenting plan was adopted where the children resided with her, and that he had residential time. After the hearing, Your Honor, we left court, and the testimony, I think, will be at this point in time that we went outside to try to effectuate the daughter father brought 1 child with him, the oldest child. The 2 girls are twins, 14 years of age, Elizabeth and Liza. And one of the children came with the father, and then there was a significant scene out in the anteroom of Your Honor's courtroom where the officers almost had to get involved. Very not a good situation. The child refused to leave with the mother. Had a scene, and again, so it's there. These children all, I think, have significant mental health issues, and I would say, as an officer of the court, many of them are environmental, because neither the mother or the father are presenting a stable position.
I need to remove the children from both parents and put them in foster care.
Your Honor, that may be a consideration that you need to make.
It's only an option.
I'm advocating for my client, but my client has, again, I trust, has had a cathartic revelation about her own stability at this point in time, and will be taking the witness stand talking about the fact that she has gotten herself into some mental health counseling. She's tried to get the children in. She's tried to cooperate with the father. And again, Your Honor can remember the father's demeanor and testimony. It's his way or no way. He's a selfish little brat. It's basically the way I would describe him. And he is teaching his children the same. Put down. He's taught one of the children how to drive. She's been stealing cars and going out. She did it at his home. She's done it at my client's home. Sneaking out of the house and going, to the point of where this past week my client had called the police, and the child is now facing charges in juvenile court. That's set sometime later on this month. It's a bad situation. I think Your Honor needs to talk with these kids. I think there needs to be, at the very least, a guardian ad litem appointed for the children. And I think the court may need to make a referral to the Department of Children's Services on your own. The department did get called. I haven't heard back from them. But I do think there's a very real possibility that the court may refer this to the juvenile court for a dependency and neglect finding on both parents.
So essentially, we've got 2 people who have basically screwed up their own lives, or conducting themselves in a way based on the prior hearing that we had, in which they have set a terrible example for their children, and lo and behold, is anyone surprised that the children are having issues? These are the kinds of cases that keep me awake at night, and unfortunately, there are no good answers for some of these situations. I'm going to allow Ms. Ederston to put on her proof, and we'll conduct a hearing on the request for a temporary restraining order, and then we'll make a determination as to what, if anything else, needs to be done regarding these children. But it is very, very real. There is a very real possibility that there will be a referral to the Department of Children's Services, and possibly a referral to juvenile court for an investigation to be conducted regarding the welfare of these children. That is not something I take lightly. It's certainly not something I do on a frequent basis. But 2 people such as this, who, based upon the prior hearing I've had, seem to have a disregard for the best interests of their children, and more than regard for what makes them happy, it is an unfortunate circumstance. So, Ms. Ederson, you may call your first witness.
I'll call Mr. Ingram. Yes, ma'am.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Mr. Ingram, you have 3 children, correct?
Yes.
Your 2 older daughters are Elizabeth and Liza,
Yes.
correct? And they're 14. When did they turn 15?
They turn 15 next month.
And then you have a son, Daniel Jr., who you call DJ,
Yes.
correct? And he's 10. Is that
Yes.
right? Can you tell me about what occurred this past weekend with the children?
This past weekend, by the parenting plan, was my weekend. She let me come pick them up on Thursday after school. When she let me come pick them up, I took them over to the house, spent the day with them doing things. Friday, around noon, I was sitting in my room watching TV with my paramour, and my daughter walked in the room while we were kissing. When that happened, my daughter has a habit, as all kids do.
Which daughter? Use names.
Liza.
Okay. You've got 2 daughters. Use
Liza.
names.
She made a habit, as all children do, when they see their parent kissing somebody. Oh my God, I need bleach for my eyes.
Objection to hearsay.
Not offered for the truth of the matter asserted.
Then object to the relevance.
Overruled. It is not surprising that she would make a remark like that, seeing him with his acknowledged paramour when he's still married to their mother. So, overruled the objection.
I'm guessing she was on the phone with her mother when it happened.
Objection to assumptions and
Sustained.
Was she on the phone at the time?
She was either on the phone or she texted her mother.
Okay. What happened after that? You don't need to say.
I got a message from her mother saying she was coming to pick up the kids. The kids did not want to go back.
objection calls to conclude speculation, conjecture, innuendo.
Sustained.
Just tell what happened and what you saw.
She showed up at the house. Law enforcement was called.
Who called law enforcement?
Both of us.
Okay. And why was law enforcement called?
Because the kids did not want to get back in her vehicle.
And law enforcement came to the home. What happened?
Law enforcement came to the home,
Don't tell me anything they said. Just tell me what
talked to
happened.
the kids, and left.
Did they make them go with the mother?
No,
And did the mother then leave?
the mother was trespassed off the home by the homeowners, off the property by the homeowner's request.
Now, who is the homeowner?
Dustin Ducharme,
And who is Dustin to you?
my best friend.
And how long have the children known Mr. Ducharme?
The girls, since they were 4, my son, basically his whole life.
And after that, the kids stay with you the full weekend.
Yes,
And then tell me about the exchange back to the mother on Sunday.
Sunday, she texted me about 5 o'clock, hey, I hope you enjoyed your weekend. I'll be at Tyson Springs Market at 6 o'clock, per the parenting plan, to pick them up. So I took them out there. On my way, I notified City that they did not want to go, so they would probably have to force them to go. City responded, they came out there. That started off as 4 officers because it was shift change. ended up at the end 2 officers. One of the kids went with grandmother.
Which
What?
kid?
DJ went with grandmother. Liza went with mother. And Lizzie stayed with me.
Lizzie is
Elizabeth.
And how did it come that Lizzie went with you?
I was told by one of the city officers.
Okay, I can't have you say what you don't have to object on. I didn't ask them. You can't tell me what they said. Can't tell me what they said. So if it was something they told you something and you took her.
Yes.
Okay. Now, tell me what happened later that night that caused you to contact me on Monday.
It wasn't later that night.
Okay,
It was Monday morning,
okay, Monday morning,
or Monday evening.
Monday evening.
Monday evening,
Sorry.
I went out to see my kids at their grandmother's house.
Were they all there, or the other two?
Elizabeth was still with me. When I got ready to leave, I was asked to follow the parenting plan. And my daughter tried to run. When she tried
Which
to,
daughter?
Elizabeth, the one that was with me.
Okay. But when you say you were asked to follow a parenting plan, who asked you to follow a parenting plan?
The mother.
Okay, and what do you mean by she asked you to follow a parenting plan?
I was given a text message stating that I was going to be told, or that her attorney was going to be told that I was breaking the parenting plan, taking my daughter without permission.
So she asked you to return
Yes.
the other child, okay.
So I did so. When I did, my daughter tried to run.
She ran away from the mother's home after you dropped her off.
I was still there,
Okay,
and it was the grandmother's home.
grandmother's home, okay.
When she attempted to run, I tried to stop her. When I tried to stop her, she got upset. I ended up falling to the ground because she was hitting me in the back because she didn't want to go. When law enforcement arrived, because after I fell to the ground,
Who called law enforcement?
her mother again.
The maternal grandmother?
No, the mother,
Oh, the mother called.
Cassandra.
Okay,
When the cops arrived, they found her up the road from the mother's house, or grandmother's house. I was walking up there when they showed up.
what happened after they showed up?
They got a hold of her, told her she couldn't do that. Her sister, Liza, was already walking up there. I passed them on the way. When she saw the cops, the deputies, with her sister, she kind of had a panic attack and ran towards her sister. When she ran towards her sister, her mother grabbed her and she ended up on the ground.
And then what happened with the officers?
We were with the officers for between an hour and a half to 3 hours.
Okay.
When the officers left, I left as well.
The girls stayed with mom.
All 3 kids stayed with mom.
Okay. And was there a criminal charge issued by the officers?
Not at that time.
Right.
On my way home, I get a message from my child, Liza,
Don't tell me what the message said.
Just tell you object.
and my daughter had ran again.
You can't tell me what the message said, but what you did.
It's hard to explain what I did if I can't tell the message.
Did you go back?
No, I did not.
Okay, did you talk to the mother?
Yes,
What did you talk to what did you talk to the mother about? You can say what she said.
talked to the mother about trying to work on things for the kids. And then was given a copy of the paperwork from the officers where they had where they had charged me as a runaway.
Okay, and which shop was this?
Elizabeth Starr,
And did she have a court date?
the 8th, next Thursday. Or Wednesday.
Now, stepping back a little bit, after you exchanged the children on Sunday, you drove home with Elizabeth. Did anything happen when you were driving home?
When I left with Elizabeth, halfway home, I get a text message stating,
From whom?
from the mother, stating that I'm taking your daughter to the emergency room for her mental health.
Okay. And were you able to go to the emergency room, or
I
did you
did
just
go
get
to
up
the
there?
emergency room.
Sorry, what?
I did go to the
Did go,
emergency room.
okay. And was she released or kept overnight? What happened?
She was kept until around 3 a.m. because I received a message at 3:45
That she's been released.
from the child, so
Okay. And she went home with the mother after that,
with the grandmother.
the grandmother. Okay. What, to your knowledge, is being done to address Miles' mental health?
She's in therapy as well as the other two.
Where is she in therapy at?
All three of them are in therapy at Centerstone.
And how often is that therapy?
It's either every week or every other week.
Do you believe that that's helping?
Some days I do, some days I don't.
Now, there was reference to some commotion that occurred when you arrived here. Can you tell me what happened?
Oh, that was the night that Elizabeth ran.
No, commotion when you arrived here at court.
No. What I was talking, the things that were shown to you, that was that night.
Did you hear Ms. Roberts talk about there being a commotion when you all arrived here today?
Your Honor, again, I'm assuming I made no.
My understanding was the commotion occurred after the last hearing
Oh, after the
in
last.
March or April.
Okay. I will withdraw my question. So I'm trying to figure out what was going on. Okay. And can you tell me what you observed your daughter when you saw her this morning?
A bruise on her arm.
Now, which daughter first? Tell me.
Elizabeth.
Okay.
A
What did
bruise
you
on
observe?
her arm and several marks on her back.
And were those there the last time you had seen her?
No, they were not.
And what are you asking the court to do today?
I would like them placed in my custody.
Now, you were living with your friend, Mr. Ducharme.
Yes,
Who else lives in the home?
yes.
Who else lives in the home?
Oh, his 2 children and his wife.
Okay. And how old are his children?
4 and 6
And boys or girls?
boys.
What are the sleeping arrangements in the home?
They share a room.
Who?
The boys share
How many bedrooms are there?
3.
Okay. Who sleeps in
His
each room?
sons share a room. And right now, I'm sleeping in the other room. Unless my children are there, and then I give my daughters that room and my son sleeps on a mattress pad that we made into a twin size bed for him in the boys' room.
Are you going to be able to get proper beds for them if
Yes.
they're spending more time there?
Yes,
And is it feasible for you to continue to sleep on the pull-out sofa if the kids are there for longer periods of time?
For the time being, I will do so, but I am in the process of getting a storage building that is gonna be turned into a tiny home to put on that property.
An actual livable tiny home?
Yes,
And one that would support living there with your 3 children?
yes.
That's all my questions.
Mr. Roberts?
So, Mr. Anger, you were in court on February 26th, is that correct?
Yes,
And you understand you were under an obligation to pay child support?
yes.
Objection is relevance.
What is the relevance, Ms. Roberts?
Well, Your Honor, we're talking about compliance with the court order and what's in the best interest of the kids, and asking the court to make a determination as to some urgent, and I'm questioning what kind of parent he is.
Overall, compliance with the court's orders are one of the factors that the court is considering whether the best interest of the children is reflected by the behavior of the parents.
You understood you were ordered to pay child support,
Yes,
and beginning on March 5th,
yes,
and you failed to pay any type of payments. Isn't that correct, sir?
yes it is.
Why haven't you paid your court ordered child support?
Because I haven't been working as much as I normally do.
And because you've left and gone and picked up a woman in North Carolina?
Incorrect.
Beg pardon?
Incorrect.
Have you had a paramour living with you?
No, I have not.
Have you had one come and stay with you for a period of time?
Yes,
How did she get here?
I went and picked her up, but she is not in North Carolina,
Where is she?
in Virginia.
Virginia, excuse me. Did you go drive to Virginia or fly to Virginia?
I drive.
You drove to Virginia, paid to get her to go up there and pick her up, and paid to have her come back.
No,
She gave you the money,
yes,
so you have additional funds other than what you're working for, is that correct? How much did she pay you?
she's paying for the gas.
How much did she pay you?
She's paying for
How
the
much did
gas.
she pay you?
Objection, asked and answered.
Not an answer. If she was asking for an amount,
She's literally
Yes.
just putting the gas in
you
the
be
car.
quiet until I finish talking. The question that was asked is, how much did she pay? And he said for the gas, and that is not an answer to an amount. She's asking you a specific amount if you know.
I don't know.
Of
hard
The
to-
answer is he doesn't know, Ms. Roberts.
It's hard to estimate the amount that she is paying for the gas with gas prices being the way they are right now.
When did you go and pick her up?
I've gone twice and picked her up.
Well, give me the 2 dates you've driven up there to go pick her up.
The first one was last month on the trying to remember exact dates.
Was it after? We were in court on February
Yes. It
26th.
was after that.
Okay, and if I could, let me just retrieve my calendar. We were in court on Monday, February 26th.
Yes,
And did you get visitation with your kids the following weekend?
yes,
So you would have had them for the first time after the court order went down on the first day of March. That would have been the Friday afterwards.
correct.
And you had them the first, second, and third. Did you keep them that weekend, all 3 of them?
Yes,
And then you would have kept them again on the fifth.
I believe so.
Do you remember or not?
I don't remember exactly if I had them that weekend or not.
Because again, I'm just trying to establish when the alternating started. So if we were in court on Monday, the 26th, and you got them the weekend following, your weekends would have been the 1st through the 3rd, the 15th through the 17th, the 29th through the 31st, which would have included Easter. Then you would have had them the 12th through the 14th.
Yes,
So this event that you testified to about, it was your weekend and your daughter walked in seeing you being amorous with your girlfriend. That would have been what weekend? Would that have been just this past weekend, the 29th?
Correct.
So you would have had them the 12th through the 14th, and then your weekend would have been the 26th through the 28th. And that would have been this just past weekend, because the weekend before, because today again. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you would have, did you have them alternating weekends from the time we were in court?
We have been alternating according to the parenting plan.
Well, then how did you know that this was your week? You specifically testified, Mr. Ingram, that it was my weekend this weekend.
Because going off of the court order, it started the 1st. Per your request to the judge when we came into court on the 26th. So if you go off of that and follow through, it would have been this past weekend.
But the truth of the matter is that y'all haven't been following an alternating weekend schedule, have you?
No, we haven't.
Y'all been communicating with one another to some degree,
Trying to, yeah.
trying to, and you weren't following a specific alternating pattern.
Correct.
You actually got them more
Correct.
than an alternating weekend pattern,
Correct.
correct?
Yes.
And during that period of time, you had sufficient money to travel and to bring your girlfriend. Again, my client has a paramour and is pregnant with another man. It's a child, correct? That's already been established.
Correct.
So, but the money scenario, you had the availability to go take off work and go get your girlfriend and bring her back down here.
It was on my regular days off.
Okay. But you had the money to do that, and you haven't paid, not only did you not pay child support consistent with the guidelines, in addition, as a temporary division of marital assets, you were supposed to pay $551 for an automobile payment. Did you pay that?
No, I did not.
Now, you work where,
Allied Universal,
and what hours do you work?
6 a.m. to 6 p.
Is that new? Did you work 6P to 6A?
Yes.
When did you change your schedule?
2 weeks after the court date, I believe,
2 weeks after the court date. Then why haven't you been working?
because things have been a little bit slow.
You've asked off.
No, I've been sick.
Well, is it because I've been ill or has it been slow? Which is it?
It's a little bit of both.
But again, if I subpoena your employment records or discuss it with your employment, you've had the availability to work a normal schedule. You've not been laid off. They haven't not told you can't come into work, have they? Not one time has your employer says you're not needed today, have they?
No. But
You
it's
have
also
opted not to work, correct?
due to sickness and injury.
Well, what injury did you have?
I blew my knee out.
You blew your knee out. I don't know what that means.
I could barely walk.
Did you have what type of injury did you have? Did you fall? Was it work related? Did you have a car wreck? Did your daughter kick you in the knee? What happened?
They have you ride around on a bike at work sometimes.
Uh-huh.
And while I was riding that bike, my knee popped out of socket.
Did you seek medical treatment?
No, because I knew what it was because I've already had the same injury before.
So you didn't make a workers' comp claim?
No.
We understand you would have gotten paid had it been a work-related injury if you were injured at work, correct?
Yes, I do. But
But
I also understand that those claims take up to 3 years to process. So I didn't want to fight that.
So again, after we were in court, your children have they been living with their mother and visiting with you?
Most of the time they're at their grandmother's.
Well, again, your wife works nights, correct?
Yes.
So she works nights, so when they get ready to go to work, the children go and spend the night with their grandmother, don't they?
90% of the time they're at their grandmother's, whether she's at work or not.
Okay. You're not there to know that.
Yes, but I had my children on Life 360 until they took their phones.
Okay.
Because she got upset because they wanted to come stay with me.
Well, again, that's your statement, that assets be stricken as non-responsive. Did you provide them with their cell phones?
No, I didn't.
Who provided them with their cell phones?
Her,
Her paramour.
yes,
And they gave you access so you could keep up with where the kids were, didn't they?
no,
Well, how, did you put Life
The
360
kids.
on their phone?
the kids put Life 360 on their phone.
Did you get permission from the owners of the phones that you were tracking where they were going?
They're my children.
Did you get permission of the person who owns the phone? Yes or no, sir?
No, but she was added to the same group
Okay.
originally.
Who added them?
Elizabeth,
You don't participate, the mother of these children, your wife signed them up for counseling through Centerstone, didn't you?
correct.
You've never been.
I can't, I'm working.
So the answer to my question is no,
No.
ma'am, I haven't. You don't even know the names of the counselors, do you?
No, I do not.
You've never called and spoken to them, have you?
No,
You have refused to, are any of your children on prescribed medication for any conditions that they have?
yes,
And you refuse to give it to them because you think they don't need it, don't you?
no.
You pick the medicine up from the mother when it's time for you to have them,
She normally gives it to me.
and you're giving it to the children?
I make sure they take it.
You do. You've
Yes.
never had a conversation and told any of the children or your wife that they don't need the medication, that there's nothing, that they're pilling them to death?
No, I have not.
Did you teach one of your children or both of the girls how to drive?
Yes, I taught one of my children how to drive.
Which one?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. And Elizabeth was the one that you brought to court with you the day when we were here in February, is that
Yes.
correct? And Elizabeth, has she taken your car? She left your home and taken your car?
No, she did not take my car.
Whose did she take?
My best friends.
Snuck out of your house
Yes,
when you had her
yes,
and got behind the wheel of a car
yes,
and drove it on a thoroughfare that is driven by other individuals, correct?
yes.
Wasn't just in the backfield learning how to drive. She's out, where was she going?
I have no clue. I didn't find out until she took her grandmother's car
Okay.
that she had done it.
Well, who was watching your daughter at night? Were you there when she got up out of your home and left and stole your friend's car?
When I went to bed, she was asleep.
And you didn't know how many times did she sneak out of your house and drive all around?
As far as I know, only once.
What'd you do to her?
She was punished.
Well, what?
No access to her phone, no access to games.
The phone that was provided to her,
No, at the time, she didn't have that phone.
what phone did she have?
She had a old phone of mine.
Where's that phone now?
Your client broke the phone.
Okay. Did it have cellular service
No. She was using it with Wi-Fi.
with Wi-Fi? You would agree with me, both, at least the girls have some significant issues going on in their lives.
Yes.
Whether it's because of the behaviors that you and your wife has shown them,
Yes.
or whether it's some other deep-seated psychological issue that they've been dealing with. You would agree with me that they need help.
Yes, I do agree that they need help.
They need consistency,
Yes.
and they need you and their mother to quit all this nonsense and start acting like parents, don't you?
And that's what I've been trying to do.
You've been
for the past
trying to do
2 months. Since we had that court hearing.
Again, I don't mean to jump around. Is your girlfriend still here?
Yes, she is.
What is her name?
Brianna Hammett.
Brianna what?
Hammett.
Hammett?
Hammett. Hammet.
Hammett. And how long is she going to be here, or is she staying here permanently?
We're not sure yet.
Well, so the living scenario that you're talking about now, you got your friend and his wife have a room at their own home.
Yes.
Their 2 children are having to share a room so that you and your paramour can have a room. correct?
Correct.
So there's no place for your kids to spend the night.
And we've already figured that out.
Well, you haven't. You're figuring future tense out. They don't have a room right now, do they?
If custody is awarded, yes, they do.
Where you and your girlfriend will sleep on the couch?
They will take my room, the girls. My son is of the age where he can still share a room with the boys. And then I will be sleeping on the pull-out couch.
Your daughter has made, which daughter, or have both of them made self-injurious statements where they have talked about hurting themselves?
That would be Liza.
Liza, what did you do to do that?
What did I do to do that?
I mean, in response to that. I mean, not that you made her do that. What did you do when she did that?
When I found out about it, me and her sat down and talked multiple times about it.
Did you seek any mental health help treatment for her?
That's part of the reason she's in therapy.
That her mother arranged, that you haven't participated in? Correct?
Correct.
You hadn't called the counselor and says, hey, what do I need to do?
We've already established that.
What kind of meds are your daughters on?
I don't know exactly what kind of meds they're on. I
What are the
know
dosages?
depression and anxiety.
What dosages do they take?
I don't know that. I don't ever see the pill bottles.
You don't know the names of the medication your daughters are on?
No, because I never see the pill bottles.
Well, I thought you said the mother sends them.
Yeah, they're normally in a case or she puts them all in the same bottle.
Okay. Did you ask?
No, I did not.
Pick up the phone and call and say, hey, what are my daughters on? What are the side effects? What's going on with them?
No, I did not.
Your children, your two daughters are in what grade in school, sir?
Ninth.
What are their grades?
Right now, Liza's are low.
Well, what are they? I mean, you look, don't you? The answer is no, I don't, do you?
No, I do not.
Understand they got a program called Skyward? Do you know what Skyward is?
I've been on it once or twice.
So if I ask you to go out and get your phone and retrieve it, you're gonna have the app on there where you can look and see the progress of your children? Or no, it's not on my phone?
Yes, it is on my phone.
Well, when did you look for it?
While Elizabeth was living with me,
So you brought your phone into the courtroom?
I had my attorney bring it into the courtroom because of evidence on my phone that I could not send her.
Okay.
She's had it the whole time.
That you don't look and see where your kids' grades are? What about DJ? Where's he in school? Do
DJ's AB honor roll right now.
you look at his grades?
No, I do not.
So he got Classroom Dojo?
I'm not sure.
You check his homework?
I haven't seen his homework.
You sign his folder?
How am I supposed to sign his folder when they're with her during the week?
But again, have you had it on Sunday? Do they carry it on Sunday, or do you ask to see it so I can keep up with the progress of what they're doing?
She keeps their backpacks.
What time do they have to be in school?
They have to be at school by 8 o'clock in the morning.
You sure?
Okay, 7:45.
Okay, yeah. Now DJ goes where? And the girls go where?
The lower campus.
The lower campus. And so you know that the school starts before 8 o'clock.
They have to be there at 7:45. School starts, or the bell rings at 8 o'clock.
Now, how many parent-teacher conferences have you been to?
None, because I haven't been told that there is one.
Well, if you looked on the website or on Skyward, it puts it on there. Are you not capable of doing that on your own? But you want to be custodian of these children?
Yes, I'm capable of doing it,
Then why haven't you?
because I'm always working when they have those things.
Well, you used to work from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., correct?
Yes,
Okay. You understand that for probably the past 8 or 9 years that Parent-teacher conferences are during the day that they get out of school?
And I've gone to those,
Okay, you have gone.
yes,
But then you just changed your work to 6A to 6P, correct?
yes.
You just testified that your children have to be at school at 7:45, so it's an impossibility for you to even get them because you're living in Hickman County. There's not a bus service in Hickman County, is there, sir?
No, there isn't, but just like she has help from her family,
Mhm.
I have help from my friends.
So you're not capable of getting them to school and picking them up because you're gonna be gone from 6A to 6P. And you work in Nashville, correct?
That's why I'm working on changing my employment.
And where have you applied for employment?
Hillier Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, and a on-the-road flagging company.
But as of right now, you're working from 6A to 6P for a company in Nashville, correct?
In Spring Hill, correct.
In Spring Hill, I apologize, Spring Hill. And when was the last paycheck you got, sir?
Thursday,
And how much was that paycheck? How much did you bring home?
less than $500.
Did you pay any of that towards the care and maintenance of your children and child support?
No, I did not.
That's all, thank you, sir.
Is that understanding is correct?
Mr. Ingram, you were asked about having sufficient money to go to Virginia. Did you pay any money for your drive to Virginia?
No,
And did your girlfriend hand any money to you when you went on that trip?
yes.
Okay, and what did you do with that money?
Put it in the gas tank.
Bought gas,
Yes,
I presume? Okay. Was any of that money available to be used for any of your purposes?
no,
You said that your daughters put Life 360 on their phones. Did they add you to Life 360 or did you add them?
they added me. In fact, if I could see my phone for a moment, I can show you the administrator of the group,
Is who?
Elizabeth.
And have you tried to log into Skyward? Are you able to do that?
It took me a while to get access to it.
Do you still have access?
Yes,
If you were to have the children during the school year, school week, would you be logging in and making sure they keep up with their homework?
yes, I would.
Now, I think that, I'm not sure if it's really a question, whether it's a statement made that you're not capable of getting the kids to school. Can you get the kids to school?
Yes,
You might not
I
do it
have.
physically.
I may not do it personally, but I have made arrangements to make sure that they make it to school.
Have you had them on school nights before?
Yes,
Have you gotten them to school on time?
yes,
Is that something that will be a problem if
no,
you were to have the children?
no. Now, there was one day at the beginning of the week that I did not take Elizabeth to school. And that was due to the fact that I brought her up here with me to file for emergency custody. I have a note from the court, or the juvenile court office downstairs stating that.
And I lost my train of thought. Are you opposed to having a wage assignment filed so that your child support can just be pulled out of your check?
Yes, or no, no,
You're okay with that?
yes, I am 100% fine with that.
That's all the questions.
Recross. Thank you, sir. You may stand down. Patterson, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, I will call Mr. Dustin Ducharme. He's outside. Actually, Your Honor, I think I need to get on my,
You need to go that now.
right about now.
Any idea how long
shouldn't be more than 15 minutes.
We'll take a recess and then hopefully be able to take your witness up.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
All right, we're going to resume hearing that we broke before lunch on Ingram versus Ingram. So if you want to call your next witness,
Mr. Justin Ducharme.
So if you would stand here or raise your right hand, please.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please state your name for the record and spell your last name for the order?
Justin Ducharme, D-U-C-H-A-R-M-E.
And Mr. Ducharme, how do you know Mr. Ingram?
We met at Walmart about 11 years ago.
How many?
About a little over 11 years.
11 years ago? Okay. And have you been continuously friends since then?
Yes.
Is he staying in your home right now?
Yes.
Do you own or rent that home?
I own it. Well, mortgage, but still.
And who all lives in that home?
Me, my wife, my 2 kids, and then him.
And your children is 4 and 6?
Yes.
And they're boys?
Yes.
Has Mr. Ingram's children been staying in your home when he has parenting time?
Yes.
How has that been going?
Good.
What are the sleeping arrangements?
Right now, they've been sleeping in the living room for whatnot. Because at first, Lizzie would sleep off in what's his room now.
Lizzie was sleeping there before.
Yes.
Was that prior to when he started having every other weekend? She was staying there more often.
That's
right? Okay. And if the kids were to come stay there on a more long-term basis, would there be appropriate sleeping arrangements for them?
Yes, we've been looking into that. We're going to get a fold-up couch for him to sleep on up in my living room so that the girls can have his room. DJ would be sleeping with my boys off in his room until we can get a building up for his whole room off the side of my house.
And that'll get him out of the living room.
Yes.
Okay. And you and your wife don't mind him having to sleep in the living room during that time? And he can do that indefinitely?
Yeah.
Now, on the times that Mr. Ingram has had to take the children or maybe just Lizzie to school, has he been able to do that?
I don't know the situation of that. I'm over a truck driver.
Okay, so you're not the one around to help with that?
No.
Okay, does your wife assist?
My wife helps.
Okay. And to your knowledge, is she willing to continue to assist as needed?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, again, I'm gonna object to speculation, objection.
So to his knowledge.
do what?
I asked to his knowledge. I mean, he could say, I don't know.
Overruled.
Mr. Ducharme, do your children go to school or do they stay home?
My oldest goes to school, the other one stays at home.
And your wife stays at home?
No, she works at Walmart.
Have you observed anything between Mr. Ingram and his children that would give you concern for his ability to care for his children?
For who's?
For Mr. Ingram caring for his kids?
No, ma'am.
What kind of relationship do they have?
Very good. And every time I see him, there's all smiles, hugs, and stuff like that for the most part.
Have you ever seen Mr. Ingram strike or grab his children?
No.
Have you seen him yell at them inappropriately or cuss at them?
No, I would say inappropriate or things like that.
Are you aware, presume, that about the incident where one of the children took your car? Was your car?
Yeah, I just recently found out about that.
Okay. So she took it, was gone, and came back before anybody knew?
I don't know on that.
Okay, you don't know? Okay. Are you concerned about that happening again?
No.
Okay. Have you taken steps to ensure that it won't happen again?
We put our keys away where she can get to them.
In your position as essentially landlord and friend of Mr. Ingram, are you prepared to support him in caring for his children, during the time that he needs it?
Yes, I can do that now.
So, Mr. Ducharme, you're an over-the-road truck driver,
Yes, ma'am.
long haul, short haul.
Long haul.
So how often are you really even at home?
Depends on, I come home based off the situations. So birthdays and holidays and whatnot. So if you want like in depth, I can tell you
Well, again,
what that looks like.
I mean, you're not home regularly.
No.
You get in the truck, you go, where do you drive to? All over the continental United States?
Yes.
So you may be in California, you drive there, and you typically will wait for a load to come back. You don't head back, do you?
I'm forced dispatch, so
Okay.
it could be a situation I could be in Tennessee today, in Kentucky the next day, or
Okay.
Chicago.
And then pick something up in Kentucky and go to Chicago, and pick that up and go to New York, and then come back around, and when you get close, you get to come home.
If I'm close enough and still be able to make my delivery, yes.
Okay. And then you don't have designated days, you're not just driving Monday through Friday and home on weekends?
No.
So typically, how often have he moved into y'all's home in October?
Yes.
And so it's him, you're there on occasion, but he's there with your wife, your two children, and then his paramour, whoever happens to be staying with him, right? And how many women has he had come in the home?
Just ready.
Okay. You remember when did he go to California to meet somebody?
As far as as far as I understand it, it was just going up there as a friend.
Okay.
Going to LA.
Okay. How much is he paying you to stay there?
He doesn't pay me.
Doesn't pay any part of the utilities, nothing?
Not right now.
Why is that?
Big so that he can get a building and everything, and after he gets his building.
Well, how long have y'all been planning? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I thought you paused. Go ahead.
After he gets his building and whatnot, then we're gonna be splitting the electric and the water and stuff like that, but so that he can get on his feet.
And y'all been planning that for how long?
Couple months.
Just a couple months, but he's been there since October.
The original plan, from my understanding, was him to, get money up so that he can move out,
But he can move out.
Yes.
And now that plan's changed.
as far as I know, yes.
As far as you know, can you tell me why there's a qualifier? As far as you know. I mean, is this just something he and your wife are kind of working out?
No, plans can change.
How often do you communicate with him?
Like, I can talk to him any day. Like, there's times where we talk every day, there's times that it could be a week or two.
When have you been home in the past, since February? We were in court on February 26th, Monday, February 26th. How many days have you been home since February 26th?
Been home for a week off in March to get my taxes done.
Okay, so other than that, you were home in March to get your taxes done, and you haven't been home since?
Yeah.
So you don't see him on a day-to-day basis interacting with his children?
No, but it's
So when you-
I'm home.
So when you which has been 1 week since he's had every other weekend visitation?
I stayed home all through December and everything,
Well,
which is a month long, but not all through December, half of December and part of January. But then he goes out about 30 days. And that time, I was able to interact with him on that.
so since they were in court, you've had no opportunity other than 1 week in March. And how often were the children there for that week in March?
I don't know. So,
When you were at home for your taxes? You said you were home a week in March, right?
yes,
During the week that you were home in March, how many of those 7 days, I think that was a 7-day week? Or were you home?
it was around Thursday to Tuesday or Wednesday to Tuesday.
Okay, so you were home part of the time, from Thursday to Wednesday. So you were home during that period of time. Were the Ingram children in your home?
I don't know. I have a lot of stuff that goes online.
Well, again, but when counsel asks you about how he interacts with his kids, you don't have any basis to know how he interacts with the kids because you haven't seen them. Correct?
I have seen them
When
I was home. I don't know how many days. It's been over a month, or roughly a month.
And how did you find out that the twins, they call them there's Elizabeth, and they call her Liz, right?
Lizzie and Liza.
And then Liza, and it's Lizzie and Liza.
Yes.
Now Lizzie is the one who stole your car.
From my knowledge, yes.
And how did you find that out?
Found out today. No, or Daniel
When did he tell you?
today.
To-
A little bit before court. I found out about that.
Okay. Before court started?
Yes.
Okay. And, do you know when he knew about it?
No.
Have you asked your wife? Did your wife know that their daughter had stole her car and was driving around in it?
She knows about it, but I did not know.
But she didn't tell you either?
Yeah, no.
And the resolution that you've made, when council asked you, are you concerned about that happening again? Your response, sir, was no. And she said, why? And your response was, we put the keys away where she couldn't find them.
Because
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's not because the daughter has had some cathartic revelation or gotten counseling or realized the error of her ways. You've had to hide them, haven't you?
Make sure.
Okay. Not that she came and apologized and knew she was wrong and,
I haven't been to talk to her about it.
okay. Well, did her dad have that conversation with you and said, look, she was punished, this happened, she realized?
Yeah, he told me about that.
Okay, he did?
But I was
Excuse me, I have a cough drop in my mouth, I apologize. And so during the time that he's been there since October, on occasions when the kids would come over there, when all three of them were over there, they sleep in the living room.
Yes.
And then there was a period of time when Lizzie was staying over there, refused to go back to her mom's,
Yeah.
right? And she stayed in the living room.
When? Like,
Well, I'm asking, that's a question. Was there a period of time that Lizzie stayed over there by herself without the other two?
yes.
And where would Lizzie stay when she was over there?
When, before the court, she would stay off in the room after all of that, and where it was taken, where it was just visitations and stuff like that, she would sleep in the living room.
She would do what?
Sleep in the living room after the proceedings where Tony could not have them.
Sleeping in the living, she slept on the couch in the living room
After that point,
after that point. And before that point,
she would sleep off in what his room now.
where would he sleep?
He would sleep in the living room.
In the living room?
Yes,
Okay. But now when the kids come, they're all in the living room.
yes.
And y'all don't have a pull-out couch.
Not right now. We've actually been looking into all of that, trying to find pull-out couches and stuff like that.
And your wife works at Walmart.
Yes.
When does she work?
It can change a little bit, depending on, but her schedule is locked down to 63 Monday through Friday.
Say that one more time.
She has it set up, because I'm an older road truck driver, where she works from 63, but within that 63, they can schedule any time in there, so it can change.
She works from 6 a.m.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm saying,
Okay.
6 to 3, in what time, are you talking about 6 p.m.? 6 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Yes.
So she'll have to leave the house, y'all are in Hickman County.
Yes.
So she'll leave the house 5:45,
5:30.
5:30, just to run down.
Yeah.
And get to Walmart.
We got a back road that's really quick.
Right. But how's your son getting, and that's Monday through Friday?
Mhm.
And so how's your son getting to school?
School bus.
School bus, who's staying with him at the house?
My stepmom.
Your stepmom?
Yes.
Is she living there too?
No.
She just comes over on
She
days
comes
that,
over
that,
and
that
watches
your
my
mom's gotta work to get your son to school,
Yes.
to make sure he's on the bus.
On the bus and then watches Silas's while he's home.
Yeah, and then, and taking care of the baby,
Yes.
the little one. But, so nobody's available to take the Ingram kids to school
My wife does.
at 6, if she has to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning?
She brings her to a friend's house.
Who's friend?
Lizzie's.
She's carrying Lizzie to a friend's house?
Yes.
What friend?
Montana.
Montana? So she's dropping, so on the mornings that he's been gone, because he was working, do you know what hours he was working?
Depending on the time, it was either 6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Mhm.
or 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
So he would have to leave. Your wife would have to leave before he got home, because he's working in Spring Hill.
Yes.
So he wouldn't get off till 6 a.m. And then he wouldn't be there in time to be with your children or to pick hit Lizzie up when she was there to carry him to school.
No.
And your wife's schedule is the same, so now she's not gonna be able to carry 3 kids to 2 different schools in Dixon on his behalf now, because he's testified, he's changed job, he's changed times, and he's working from 6A to 6P.
Yeah.
So he's gonna have to leave about the same time your wife leaves to get to Spring Hill or to get to Dixon.
If she continues working, yes.
If he continues to work,
She.
if she continues to work.
I'm fortunate enough where I'm making more than enough money so that she don't have to work. She's just helping out to pay off bills. And go past. That's it.
Well, but again, these aren't her keepings. Okay, so right now, you don't have an available, in your home that you're living in right now, there's nobody available to carry the Ingram children to school. Although if you're only got 3 more weeks or 2.5 more weeks of school. But at this point in time, there's nobody there to get them back and forth to school on time, is there?
That can be changed right now, and no.
Okay.
But I'm able to borrow a trunk or whatnot. My stepmom would do that for me as well.
But then you would have to get your son off to the bus. And then pack up your little one, and then have your stepmom drive them to Dixon.
Yeah.
To 2 different schools.
My family's all about helping.
I don't have anything further.
Read it right.
No, yeah.
Wait just a second, let me say, did you say no other question? I'm sorry. Go ahead, you can step down. You got a seat in the quorum if you like. You may call your next witness.
I would like to call one of the minor children to testify.
You're going to call one of the minor children to
Yes.
testify?
Lizzie, to testify. She's almost 15 years old. I would request that she testify in chambers outside the presence of other parent. That could be agreed to. I don't mind putting kids on the stand if we can avoid it, but I think that her testimony is necessary.
Ms. Roberts?
Well, Your Honor, the child is of age if she wants to state preference, and I think she's more of a fact witness in this case, as long as it's on the record and the attorneys get to, it's a question and answer scenario and it's on the record, whether we do it out here, whether we do it in the conference room, I don't have an objection to doing it outside the presence.
Do you have any other witnesses besides this young lady?
No, I was going to call both of the daughters.
Well, we're just gonna have all 3 of the children testify.
All right.
If they're gonna call, we want all 3.
And if you're all going to have the 3 children testify in chambers, then we will take a recess and set up in the jury room across the hallway to have the hearing of that testimony in chambers.
Your Honor, do you want to address Ms. Burdine come in?
Burdine?
That's. Your Honor, we have the next matter, so I don't know what the scenario that we need to do on it. We have 3 children and then my client to testify in petition my client's mother. The children are gonna testify individually. So I don't just want to know
Well,
what time you're staying till.
we'll stay till 5 o'clock, but beyond that, court personnel and everyone else has been here all morning, so my thought would be we'll go till 5 o'clock and find you another day to finish up, but that's entirely up to you. If you have another suggestion, then I'm open.
Well, no, Your Honor, as I was addressing the clerk earlier, this is a petition that we're the respondents, they're the petitioner, so if they have a preference of putting on their proof and then having to get another day several weeks out, again, that's fine, but if they don't want to put their proof, if they don't want to get halfway through their proof, then I petition again, I leave it to Ms. Burdine on her choice.
I can tell you, Your Honor, we have no witnesses other than my client, and it's going to be 15, 20 minutes with my client on the stand, and then any rebuttal. I don't know how long Ms. Roberts plans on,
I have multiple witnesses.
but he's up here from Florida, and this case has been pending almost 2 years, Your Honor.
Well, such is the problem with our dockets.
I know, Your Honor.
So as I said, I'm here, but I didn't, if she didn't want to put on her proof and then suspend it if we
And
don't.
we'll, since he's here from out of state, we'll see where we are after we
Okay.
finish this case. So, So do you have anything else you wanted, any other witnesses you wish to call?
No, Your Honor. Please, Mayor.
All right. Ms. Roberts, do you have witnesses you wish to put on?
Yes, Your Honor, I would call Ms. Ingram.
So if you'll come around, please, and raise your right hand and be placed under oath.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
You're Cassandra Ingram, is that correct? Ms. Ingram, how old are you?
I'm 35.
35. You're married to the gentleman seated here, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
How long y'all been married?
It was the 11 years this year.
Okay, you and he, y'all got two older daughters who are 14, soon to be 15.
Yes, ma'am.
Y'all had those, you had both of those kids before y'all married.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you since had a child, DJ, your son, and he is 10 years old.
Yes.
Be 11 in October.
Yes, ma'am.
Both of your girls are in attendance at the high school and they're freshmen, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And they're both utterly failing.
Yes.
Why?
I keep asking them if they have homework. They tell me no. I ask them about their missing work. They said they turned it in and that the teachers aren't grading it.
How many times you pick up phone call teachers?
I haven't.
How many emails, if I go and get this, how many emails have you sent to their teachers to say what's going on?
I haven't sent any emails. but
Why?
I'm not sure because I keep trying to help them. But I understand I should have stepped up more.
Well, why haven't you?
To be honest, I don't know.
Your husband left you in October.
Yes, ma'am.
Did y'all have a happy relationship before that?
Not really.
What type of relationship did y'all have?
We had basically a roller coaster.
Okay.
Where it had its ups and extreme downs and extreme ups and extreme downs.
And have your children exhibited, particularly the girls, have they exhibited mental health issues?
Yes.
How long, have either one of them been diagnosed with any type of particular mental disorder?
I know Liza has severe depression and anxiety, and she has ADHD. And then Lindsay has ADHD, and I think she's been diagnosed with bipolar, but I'm not sure. I'm trying to get the Centerstone records.
Well, how would you not know if a child age 14 had been diagnosed with a mental condition to the degree of bipolar
I
disorder?
know she takes mood stabilizers.
Did you ever ask a healthcare provider and say, why are you giving this to my child?
I did, but I don't remember, I don't recall.
Have you been diagnosed with any type of mental condition?
I have severe depression.
Okay. When your husband left in October, what happened to you?
I broke. I went into a depression from basically October to December because last year was a hard year. In March, on March 12th, my dad ruptured his quad muscle and had to have emergency surgery. March 15th, my oldest brother, who was 39, went to go visit him so we can figure out a plan for my dad's care at home. And as he was at the hospital, he had a massive heart attack and died. And then the week after that, my great aunt June passed away. And then the last week of March and the beginning of April, I was admitted to the hospital for broken glass lungs.
What?
Broken glass lungs is something from COVID or something. And then of course when I smoked cigarettes. And with me smoking cigarettes, it didn't help. So I was in the hospital and I was on oxygen
For how long?
for a week. And they wanted to keep me longer, but I was afraid to stay in the hospital longer than that because I needed to work. But then Mr. Ingram wasn't.
Why wasn't he working?
Well, he was saying he was gonna be taking care of me and the kids, but I would have to call him if he was coming to the hospital. The person I saw the most was my mother.
And this was in March of 2023.
Yes, ma'am.
And then he left in 2024. October of 2023.
Yes, ma'am. But I also had a miscarriage in May. And then Mr. Ingram had 2 car wrecks and
then him telling me that he wants a divorce and he left in October.
So what did you start doing in October? Start drinking,
I
didn't you?
did. I started drinking heavily, but I waited till the kids went to bed. And then one night when Liza saw me having a downward spiral, I realized I had to stop.
Did you realize that Liza was stealing your alcohol and drinking it?
I did not until I cleaned her room.
And what did you find in her room?
I found an empty bottle of whiskey and a Bud Light bottle, and then I found a whole bunch of razors and knives, and she had a blowtorch in there. I don't know why, but she doesn't do that. She cuts.
And you found out that she was cutting herself on her thighs and her inner thighs and on her arm.
Yes.
You know, she said she saw that she learned that from you.
No, because I haven't cut. I haven't cut since I was a teenager.
Did you talk to her and tell her at any point in time? Did you describe and tell her that's how you coped with anxiety and stress?
I did, because I told her I can relate, but you need to find a different outlet. You need to be able to, I know you like to draw out your feelings. Journaling will help. Come talk to me, or talk to Gigi or your dad, or talk to your counselor. We can find you ways to cope. This is not the way to do it.
So Liza is cutting, is drinking, and then here even recently, did you smoke marijuana with her? Why?
Because I was trying to help my daughter and her.
You're pregnant.
I understand, and I understand it's wrong, and I'm not doing it anymore.
When did you do it?
Probably the last time I smoked was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. What did you smoke?
Smoked marijuana.
Where did you get it? Did it leak? I mean, is it some of this stuff you buy from a
Yes, ma'am. From the gas station.
gas station? And you let your 14-year-old daughter smoke with you
Yes, ma'am.
on one occasion or more?
I let her hit a couple of times on multiple occasions. I did.
What do you think that is going to accomplish for a young lady who you think may have bipolar, who is a cutter, who is a closet alcoholic apparently at 14 years old, stealing alcohol,
I understand.
and then you're letting her?
I guess I was trying to be kind of like the cool parent because I didn't want to lose another daughter.
Okay.
And I shouldn't be. I should be the one that's, this is not need to happen.
And then you're pregnant again with another man's child, but you're still married to another one, while your husband's out there picking up various women on the internet and spending money and not supporting his kids.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, what can a court do if neither you or your husband are gonna make your children the focus of your world and worry about raising responsible, upstanding, good work with children with a work ethic who care about their grades, who should be taught to obey the law?
I'm seeking help. I'm trying to get better. I'm trying. After Mr. Engel left, my house was a total disaster.
But there's some pictures that have been entered that are supposed to be late filed exhibit that show trash, dog feces, and, just all this strewn around.
Yes, ma'am. That's how Mr. Engel liked to live. He liked to live in filth.
Those photographs were taken at the time when y'all were living together.
I think so, because I've been trying to get my house cleaned up from this, from all the animals that he had us have, from all of everything else. Like, he would have doom piles all around.
He would have what?
Doom piles. It's an ADHD thing, where you just it just goes here and just toss it into a pile kind of thing. And when I was the only one working and cleaning and cooking and all this while he sat on his games and not paying attention to anybody, I kind of just lost myself and let it go.
Okay. And that's what I want to get into. I mean, I'm your attorney and I've just kind of really done that. I mean, where's this man during all this time? He left in October. Was he helping support the family?
No.
Was he visiting with the kids regularly? Or was he just visiting with one?
he would visit with one a lot of the time, and
And
then
that was who?
Elizabeth.
Uh-huh.
And then he would see DJ here and there, and then Liza was refusing to see him. And I don't know why, because I would encourage her to go see her daddy, that she needed to spend time with her daddy.
And then when we came to court, I think at the end of February, is that when he started getting all three of the kids regularly?
Yes,
Before that, was he getting them? How often would he get them?
maybe once every other week or so, like, I'd have to look at my calendar.
Okay. The dynamics at home before he left, he wasn't working for a big period of time?
He has been in and out of jobs because he would say that they don't like him or something. Like he was in one security job before this one, and I think he was out for like a month or two before he got another job. And then before that, like I have to pull up my taxes and his work.
Did he cook and clean and go to the grocery
No, ma'am.
store? We heard him testify that he never has been involved in any of the kids' counseling or arranging any of that.
Right. And that's been me.
That's been you.
Mhm.
What? And have you always worked?
Yes,
You're working at Walmart.
yes, ma'am.
How long have you been working at Walmart?
It'll be 2 years now.
Where'd you work before that?
I worked at ConAgra
How long did you work at ConAgra?
3 years.
And how before that?
Hugs for I think a year and a half, 2 years.
How often are your children going to counseling? Are all three of them in counseling?
Yes, ma'am.
At Centerstone?
Yes, ma'am.
I think that y'all all have team care. You got team care.
Yes, ma'am.
Who arranged and signed them up so that you had health insurance?
I did.
How do you think you should resolve this issue? You've got one child who has angry outbursts, who beats her dad, who disobeys you, who jumps out of cars and runs away.
I feel
You've
like
got another one who's a cutter and a drinker, and poor DJ is just lost in the mix.
I feel like they're too close to the situation of what's going on, and I think they need to be separated for the time being, for me and their father to be able to get the help that we need to get and work on ourselves so we can be better parents for our children.
Do you think either one of you are capable of being good parents right now?
No.
Now, I asked you to give me some pictures that raised the issue of your home, and you took some photographs of your home.
Yes, ma'am.
Do these photographs accurately depict the condition of your home right now?
Yes, ma'am.
And now this is a home that was constructed for y'all because y'all qualified through Habitat for Humanity, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, sorry, lots of interest.
Yeah, I tried to be as thorough as I possibly could.
Pass those to her. You took those photographs, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you take them?
I took them, not yesterday, but the day before. So today's Thursday, so Tuesday.
Tuesday. And they do accurately depict your home.
Yes, ma'am.
You're gonna remove those in as next cumulative exhibit.
Well, we are having some photographs of the home that were produced on a tablet by the Centerstone, and that was during the testimony of the minor children, and those are going to be exhibit next in order, whatever that would be.
This is the first exhibit I took.
That would be exhibit 1.
Exhibit 1 would consist, if council correct me if I'm wrong, exhibit 1 is going to consist of a late filed exhibit of approximately 4 photographs or 5?
It's 6.
6 photographs.
Actually, it might be 5.
And
They're
then
different, it's 6.
this will be exhibit 2.
Okay.
Collectively.
And then it was, your children were asked, but these were not making it main exhibit. Your daughter, Liza, has a TikTok,
She has two.
has two TikToks. What are they?
I only know the one which is May is the abbreviation.
And that's where she posted a picture of herself with her date of birth and 2040, where she was gonna kill herself. Is that right?
I didn't see that one.
You didn't see this one?
No, ma'am.
And what about the one, me at home while my white shirt is turning red and there's blood everywhere? Did you see that one?
No, ma'am.
You know, we will move those in as the next exhibit. Your daughter says that you knew she was cutting, they're hers. That she was cutting herself and you knew it, and you knew she was sitting there bleeding and you did nothing about it.
No, I've been seeking help for her. I've been taking her to counseling, trying to get her to coach, like setting up with her case manager, but she has a case manager at Centerstone as well, as long as her therapist. And she sees her case manager every other week, and she sees her therapist weekly. And with everything that's going on, I have increased the times of therapy. And then we have every month right now, trying to make sure she is on the right dosage of medicine.
What meds is she on?
She is on, which is 150 milligrams. She's also on, which is sleep med. And then she is on, starts with a C. It's like CIT-AL, APHON or something like that. And it's for ADHD, so focus med. And then she's on an antidepressant as well, but I can't remember the name off the top of my head.
How do you and your husband exchange these meds?
I normally give them to her in a bottle, whether, like Liza, she has a pill container that I refill and put in there. Because I felt like she was old enough to be able to take her meds around.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been every morning making sure I hand her pills to make sure she takes them.
Mm-hmm.
Now DJ, I'll hand over his. I'll hand over.
What's DJ on?
DJ is on 100 milligrams, and I know the other one. I just can't remember off the top of my head.
What's he being medicated for?
ADHD, and then he takes a depression med at night as well.
Okay. And then Lizzie, what's she on?
She's on depression med, and then I've got to go pick up her other med because it's ready, because they had to wait for like something from the doctor to approve before they could fill it.
What is that?
I don't know.
When did she get that? So this is a new
Yes,
medication?
ma'am. I had to retake her back because he took her off her medicines.
When did he take her off her medicine?
When she's been there.
She hadn't been taking her medicine? I mean, he testified he's giving it. Kids says that they're getting it. Why do you think she's not getting her meds?
Because Dr. Shipowitz told me that she hasn't seen Elizabeth since January.
Well, and your husband testified he's not carried her anywhere. So who's getting, you got somebody testified under oath that I'm giving them their meds and that you're the one giving it to them. But your daughter Lizzie has been staying with her dad before we came to court, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And how often would her prescriptions be filled?
He was having Shelby Ducharme pick those up.
Okay.
So I don't know. Centerstone won't fill them if she doesn't go.
So he said he's not going, so she hadn't been getting her meds filled. So somebody's lying in this courtroom.
I have the paperwork where I took her back to Dr. Shipowitz.
So if he's testified he's given the meds,
Mhm.
he's lying.
Yes, ma'am. Because, this is just recent that she got these meds within the past week. Because as soon as I wanted to start going by the court parenting plan, I was like, I had set up an appointment, because I told him I set up an appointment for her because she needed to be on something. Because of her being out of control and her moods being so high. And then she hits the lows.
So your daughter, Lizzie,
Mhm.
has not been on med, you're testifying in this court that Lizzie has not been on meds for how long?
But she just started taking them here in the past week.
In the past week, but
Yes, ma'am.
before that,
Before that, I don't know. Because he never asked me for any medicine. I don't know if he's picked me up. I know he hasn't taken her to see her because Dr. Shibboleth looked at her calendar and said, I haven't seen her since January.
and who is Dr. Sibley?
This is the woman that prescribes her medications.
So if he testifies that you've been given medicine, there's not been no medicine again.
Right.
So her being all over the place, angry, hitting, she's not medicated, is she?
No.
Albeit it not be a good situation, but it appears that since y'all were in court, that y'all had been working with one another and the children had been going back and forth basically when they wanted to. Is that correct?
We were trying to, yes.
Okay. And then it appears that Liza called or text or something indicating that she had seen her dad and his girlfriend in an inappropriate situation. And what was communicated to you?
What was communicated to me was, I will never see Dad and Raven the same way again. I need bleach for my eyes.
And what did you assume with that?
I assume they caught him being intimate with his girl, like having sex.
Did you text him and tell him to put a lock on his door?
I told him that I was gonna come get the kids, that way he can have some alone time with his girlfriend. And I figured we would talk once I got away from the kids, because I didn't need to be in the middle of it. But I wanted to get them somewhere else and then have some privacy to talk to him. But I told him that there was a time and a place and that he should have a lock on his door. And I understand he wants to be intimate with his girl. I have no problem. By all means, but there is a time and a place, and he should have a lock on his door. Granted, Plaza should have not. But
Come to find out, she just saw him kissing. Or do you know?
that's what she tried to tell me afterwards, but, I mean, I've heard other things from other people. I don't know for certain. But of course, when I see I need bleach for my eyes, I don't understand that just for kissing, unless you're like really heavy at it.
And then that's when you called the police.
Yes, ma'am.
They refused to, it was on the weekend. You couldn't prove whether it was your weekend or his weekend, and the kids stayed with him.
Yes, ma'am.
Y'all met on Sunday for you to get the kids back.
Yes, ma'am.
Lizzie refused to go.
Yes.
Police were called again. Is that right?
They were already there when,
They were called, not again at that point in time. Hickman County Police called at his house. They did nothing.
right,
Y'all came in the Dixon County Police because he said he called them
yes,
at the exchange.
yes.
You had a court order.
Mhm.
Have it with you?
And did not have it on her, well, I had it on my phone
Okay. And the Dixon City Police responded where?
at Tyson Spring Market.
Tyson Springs Market. And Lizzie refused to go.
Right.
And you were instructed that they're not custody police and they're not gonna make her go.
Right.
Did you leave with DJ and,
I left with Plaza because DJ wanted to go with his grandmother,
okay,
which I gave all the kids that option if they wanted to go with my mom or if they wanted to come with me.
okay. So you took Liza, she took DJ, y'all went home. When did Lizzie come?
Lizzie came, would be Monday,
Okay. And then Lizzie ran.
yes,
Her father went after her, she started beating on her father
yes,
to the point where he was injured, knocked him to the ground.
yes, ma'am.
He left.
Mhm.
And then she ran again
Yes,
and
ma'am,
the police were called.
yes, ma'am.
Did y'all go to get her? She's saying that your daddy beat her with his cane.
No, what had happened is after, the first time that this was called, Elizabeth was in my mom's car. We had Elizabeth, Liza, and Lita, and then me and my mom.
And who's Lita?
Lita is one of their friends that is currently kind of couch surfing.
Couch surfing?
Because her mama is not in a stable living environment.
So you got a kid in another stable living environment and putting them up in y'all's house.
I'm sorry, repeat that.
Lita is a friend of Lizzie's,
Liza.
Liza, who is in an unstable living situation because her mother is not in a good place, so she's couch surfing.
Mhm.
So apparently Lita, this other 14-year-old child, has now come and is staying with them in another dysfunctional home.
With her,
Or
with
the-
you,
With me, and then she was also with Mr. Ingram for a little bit of time.
So they're here and Lizzie is in this car and refuses to get out.
She refused to get out. But we let her sit there for about 40 minutes, and then we're like, well, she needs to really get inside and go to bed. So I was
So what
like,
time of night is this?
this was about 9:40-ish.
Okay, and had she gone to school that day?
No.
He had kept her out,
Yes,
because he had gone to try to get this order.
yes, ma'am.
This just past Monday.
Yes, ma'am.
And he brought her up here to the courthouse.
Yes, ma'am.
So she hadn't been to school, police called, you get her, she's stuck in the car for 40 minutes and won't get out.
Right.
What'd you do?
When I came down there, my dad came down there with me, and I tried to open the door, but she tried to keep it locked. I got the door finally unlocked, and then she scooted to the other side. She was on the driver's side, and she scooted over to the passenger side,
In the back seat?
in the back seat. So Dad stayed on the driver's side with that door open, so she didn't keep sliding back and forth. And when I finally got the other door open, after she tried to keep it locked, Dad was trying to nudge her with his cane to get her out. And I was like, Elizabeth, we've got to go inside. So I had grabbed her hoodie to try and get her out. Because I'm like, we can't stay in the car. You've got to come inside. It's not good to sleep in the car. We all need to calm down and just get inside. And she didn't want to have it, and she started fighting me to where my dad came around the car, and I told him not to because I didn't want him to get hurt because he has a pacemaker.
And you're pregnant.
I'm pregnant.
And your 14-year-old child, soon to be 15, is already beat up on her daddy, now she's beating up on her pregnant mama.
And I told my dad to back off because I didn't want him to get hurt because he does have a bad back. He's had multiple surgeries. He's got a pacemaker.
They say he's an alcoholic. He drinks all the time, is that true?
He does not. He does not anymore. And he started drinking when he lost his son, my brother. And then he got help.
Okay.
He went to the hospital because he wanted to be with his son, but he didn't have a plan for it. But he went to the hospital and got help.
Okay.
So it went down to where he would just have a drink at night to help with his neuropathy. And now he's on pain management and he can't drink anymore.
So he's trying to get his granddaughter out, protect you.
And she slips out of her hoodie and I tried to grab her arm and I think I scratched her when I did.
Mhm.
And then she still got away and she starts running.
And that's when the police were called. The police had
Well, I
already
didn't call the police until I couldn't, she started going to the front of the house. And of course, there's a hill there and it was raining, I was in Crocs, and I couldn't get up that hill without probably falling. So I started calling the police because she got out of my line of sight.
And the police found her and they charged her
Yes,
with an unruly petition.
yes.
Is there any explanation you can offer this court on why you and your husband have allowed all this behavior to go on and to affect your children the way that it's done?
I do not. And I really feel bad for my kids. And I love my kids. And I care about my kids. I guess I know there's a lot to unpack, and I know there's a lot of help that is needed. I just want what's best for my kids. I understand I might not have given that to them this entire time, but I am trying to now.
I don't have anything further.
Anderson?
Let's talk about Lizzie and her medication for a second.
Okay.
You stated 2
took her into her med management doctor and was told that she hadn't been there since January, correct?
Okay.
But hasn't she been with you primarily since February?
Okay, so after court on February, I was advised to try to ease her into the parenting plan because she was very adamant about not leaving her dad. She was still going to his house about 3 to 4 days out of the week. And most of the time she did not want to see me for whatever reason. I would try to spend time with her and she seemed closed off or just really angry. And I would try to talk to her and she wouldn't reciprocate.
Now, are you aware that once patients are stable on their medications that they give 90-day prescriptions?
We've been trying to find the right fit, like, because they've had some side effects with other medications.
So it's your statement that Lizzie didn't receive a 90-day prescription in January?
No, she didn't. Not to my knowledge.
But you had taken her in January, you didn't make any effort to take her again until end of April.
I've been telling her father that she was trying to stay with him the majority of the time that he needed to take her.
So Lizzie has really been with him the majority of the time since you were in court?
She's been staying there about 3 to 4 days because, and then she's not wanting to see me. She's not wanting to go with me anywhere.
Now, you said this incident last week on Friday where Liza said she saw Mr. Ingram kissing his girlfriend, right? You said you don't believe her because you've heard other things from other people. Who are those other people?
My mother, she called my mother and told her that they were having sex.
And if she says she did say that, and that they weren't, you don't believe her?
I do not believe Liza, no.
Do you recall an incident a few weeks ago? Mr. Ingram called you because he was going to go pick up DJ from your parents' house?
No.
No? Are you aware of your mother going out of town?
Yes.
And DJ was there alone with your dad?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm aware of that because I didn't know that he was going to pick him up.
Okay. And he told you that when he got there to pick DJ up, after DJ called him, your father was drunk.
He was not drunk.
Were you there?
No, ma'am. I saw him earlier that day.
Okay, but one cannot get drunk thereafter.
I mean, it's possible. But I don't think he would do that with my son.
But Mr. Ingram told you he was, right?
Yeah, he did. But I didn't know that DJ was there until I called to talk to Elizabeth, or tried to, and I heard DJ in the background.
Do you remember what day that was?
I do not off the top of my head.
Day of the week?
I want to say it was probably a Thursday.
Okay. Why would you not know where DJ was on a Thursday?
Because he was supposed to be at my mom's because I was at work.
Well, he was at your mom's.
Yeah. That's why I didn't know that he went and picked him up until I called him.
Okay. But your mom wasn't there, just your dad, right? You said that you had let Liza hit your marijuana a couple times on multiple occasions.
Yes, ma'am.
How many occasions?
3 or 4.
When was the first time?
Probably this past month.
Okay. And if she said the last time was last Wednesday, does that sound correct?
I think so.
And would you pass a drug screen?
Probably not.
Is marijuana the only thing you fail for?
Yes, ma'am.
You said that you found these empty liquor bottles when you cleaned Liza's room. When was that?
This was Saturday. I started feeling Liza's room.
And what did you do about it?
I hadn't been able to do anything about it because she was with her dad.
Liza came home with you on Sunday,
I went to the hospital with her on Sunday,
okay? And then she came in with you after that.
and I've been,
It's Thursday.
I understand that.
What have you done about it? Did you even mention it to her?
I did, because she asked me what she found in her room, and I told her I wasn't happy about it.
Okay, and
And I
what did you
did
do?
I confiscated electronics.
Is that why the girls don't have phones anymore?
The reason they don't have phones is because my boyfriend pays for them. And Mr. Ingram has made allegations against my boyfriend about beating the children. And he did not want to be put in the middle of this
What did the phones have to do with that?
because he doesn't believe that they deserve them if this is how he's going to be treated.
Okay, so now if the kids want to talk to their dad, they can only do so with you in the room with them?
I have told them they can go to their room and talk to their dads, or they can sit at the kitchen table and I can go somewhere else.
So if they said you told them you had to be there, they're lying?
No, I did say that at one point, but then I changed it.
Okay, so you did tell them that.
Yes,
When did you change it?
I changed it not too long after, but a couple hours after, because I needed to kind of calm down from the whole situation.
But this all happened in what, the last week?
Yes.
This week?
Yes,
Okay, so you did tell them, sure, you can call your dad, but I'm gonna sit there and listen.
I did at one point, yes.
But other than coming and asking you for your phone, they have no ability to call your dad.
No, they didn't. They can use my mom's phone or my dad's phone, and they let them leave the rooms with it.
What about when Liza's at your house?
She could still use my phone, but she hasn't come back to my house since all this has happened.
What about when you're not there?
What do you mean?
I mean, basically you're saying the only way the kids can call anybody is to go get a phone out of someone else's pocket.
Right.
There's no house phone. What if the one person who's there with them is the one who's beating them?
There's no one beating them.
Are you medicated?
Yes, ma'am.
What are your medications?
I take Sterling or straight, it's like STE, Sterling. It's an antidepressant. I take 200 milligrams. And then I take a fluoxetine, which is a heartburn medication. It's for acid reflux. I'm probably pronouncing them all wrong.
That's all you take.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you go to therapy
Yes. I have an appointment Monday.
for your first time?
Yes, ma'am.
When are the kids' next appointments?
I know Elizabeth is coming up here soon. Liza is next. I want to say it's Monday or Tuesday.
Do you recall right after when you guys were in court last, inviting Mr. Ingram to come by your house?
Yes.
Do you recall him taking some photos when he was there?
No.
Do you remember what your house looked like that day?
It wasn't like I've been trying to get it clean.
And you can swipe to the next couple of photos. Does that look like what your home looked like in February?
I don't recall this in February, but I mean the girls don't pick up like they should.
There's dog feces all over the place.
Yes, Liza has a dog, and she would let him go in there and leave him in there.
Now, when you answered questions for your attorney, you blamed the mess on Mr. Ingram.
Because the girls have gotten so used to living in those conditions, they think it's normal.
Oh, okay. So the feces in the middle of the dining room or whatever room that is okay?
No, I clean that up daily if my dogs have an accident. The ones that are in my house right now are potty trained. If they have an accident, I clean it up immediately.
Isn't it your responsibility to make sure your entire house stays clean?
It is.
So if there's feces all over the floor, that's your responsibility, is it not?
I understand.
And
That's why I've been trying to make sure my house is clean now. And I'm going in there once a week to make sure their rooms are cleaned.
if it looked like that in February, it wasn't Mr. Ingram's fault, was it?
I guess it wasn't.
What's your due date?
September 8th,
How many weeks are you?
21.
That's all my questions.
Robert?
Yes, thank you. At what point in time, because I've missed this somewhere, at what point in time did Mr. Ingram said he was so concerned about your children not being able to talk to him, did he send cell phones with them? I missed that somewhere today. Did that ever happen?
He never offered them, but they've appeared with them.
Has he ever sent you money to get a cell phone
No, ma'am.
so he could communicate with the children?
No, ma'am.
Did he ever send maybe a nice thank you note to your boyfriend, thanks for giving my kids a phone because I'm not supporting them?
He did tell them in person that he appreciated it.
He appreciated it, but then griped when he took them away,
Yes.
but never took any affirmative steps to make sure his kids could communicate.
Right.
Do you know whether they have a cell phone there at his home?
That's the phones I guess they got. I don't know where the phones they got came from.
Okay. So they do have phones now,
Yes.
and they bring them to your house?
Yes.
So they can call their daddy anytime?
And since they've had those phones, they've been working at it.
And when did they get these phones?
Just yesterday.
Just yesterday?
Because everything was fine and hunky-dory. And we were communicating and talking. And now they've got phones and they're starting up with their attitudes and everything again.
That's all.
Just 2 questions, Ron.
You, and your boyfriend, father of your unborn child, y'all live together?
Yes, sir.
And you live in the house that I gave you temporary possession of, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Sorry.
Mr. Ingram's name on that deed?
Yes,
Right. Who's been paying the mortgage on it?
I am.
How long would it take you to vacate that house?
It won't take me long.
Have a seat. I've been doing this is my 10th year. Before that, I spent 37 years doing exactly what Setterson and Miss Roberts have done, representing people. I don't recall ever having 2 parents that I would characterize as being quite so dysfunctional and not charitably saying worthless as parents. You have essentially, completely, and utterly screwed up your children by your own selfish interests, your own desire to better yourself, your own desire to, and I said about better yourself, meaning finding someone else. When we had this hearing in February, I was convinced after I left here that I did the right thing, that I gave Mr. Ingram weekend visitation because he was out gallivanting around, going and meeting women online and so forth. And I knew that Miss Ingram had become pregnant by another man, but I thought, well, she's working in Walmart, she's got this home, and it can be a better place for the children. I made the mistake. I was mistaken in the belief that Mrs. Ingram could provide a stable home for these children. One of the hardest things that this job requires me to do is to make decisions that benefit your children. I've sat in here for the last hour and a half listening to your children talk about how dysfunctional their lives are, how unhappy they are. And you know who's to blame for that? The 2 of you are to blame for that. And you're just as much to blame as she is, and you are just as much to blame as he is. Because in my opinion, the real tragedy in this case is your two daughters especially, but your son who's following suit, I think he's as cute a little boy as you'd ever want to see. And your two daughters are highly intelligent. I mean, they're intelligent and well-spoken, strong-willed. And the problem is that their education is going down the tubes. They're both flunking when they shouldn't be. Mr. Ingram has decided that he didn't want to be married, so he's going out and finding someone else. I mean, that's your prerogative. But you were under a court order in February to start contributing support of your children. Your children could starve to death, more or less, by at least from the position that many courts take, where you don't pay your child support. You don't pay child support for a period of 4 months. That's a grounds for termination of parental rights. Fail to support willfully. So now you've got someone else in your life, and you're living in a house with a man and his wife who you say is your best friend, and your children refer to him as an uncle and an aunt. And you know, it's a house that's too small for the number of people that you got in there. So what am I supposed to do about that? How am I supposed to deal with that situation? It is reprehensible for you to think that you should smoke pot with I don't care what you're thinking, what anyone else thinks about marijuana. It is illegal for you to smoke marijuana in the state of Tennessee right now, and you have conducted yourself in a way that you have engaged your daughter, who already has mental problems, who already has emotional problems, who has talked about self-harm, and you want to solve that problem by having her smoke pot with you on a number of different occasions. That is ridiculous, to the point that I'm considering giving you supervised visitation, because right now I am reversing the order that I put down earlier in this case. Mr. Ingram will now be the primary residential parent for these children, because all three children feel safer in his home than they do in yours. Your daughters don't like this new boyfriend you've got. They don't feel safe. Your son tells me that he got hit in the head with a lighter that your boyfriend threw, and that you took your boyfriend's side about that situation. What does that tell your son? It says you care more about your boyfriend and this new baby you're carrying of his than you do about your children. So, question becomes what to do about the living arrangements. Mr. Ingram will now be the primary residential parent for these children on a temporary basis. I'm not sure that's the right thing to do. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to appoint Mickey Furlong Smith, who's my trusted guardian ad litem of choice, to be the guardian ad litem for these children. I've already confirmed with her that she's willing to do this, and she's not going to be nice to either one of you. If that's not going to be her job. Her job is to try to help your very troubled children. You've got one daughter who doesn't care whether or not she's being told to do something or not to do something. She wants to do whatever she wants to do. And in one respect, I feel like I'm giving her what she wants. But my concern is the safety and well-being of your children. And that means that I feel like right now, Ms. Ingram has just admitted, understand, she doesn't think she's capable of taking care of these children. And I agree with her, she's not. I have questions about you. You had better get your priorities straight. And whether or not this new person in your life, who your children apparently think is a nice person and they get along with well, if she's going to be around, you're going to have responsibilities like you've never had before.
Yes, sir.
Because I'm going to put you in charge of some of those responsibilities that Mrs. Ingram has previously done herself. I'm not going to order that this was a Habitat for Humanity home that Ms. Ingram got. I would dare say they both got that home. I would dare say that Habitat for Humanity is not likely to advertise this home as being an example of what they can have expect out of the future for the people who get that. That is a great program. I support it. It is something that is helping many, many people. But in this particular case, you two have betrayed the trust that was placed in you by the Habitat for Humanity people, and the condition of the house that I've seen in photographs. Of course, it is better now, but the condition of the photographs earlier was reprehensible. I'm not going to require her to vacate the property right now, not at least until I hear from the guardian ad litem. But that's a very real possibility that his name's on the deed, the children need to be there. She can go to her parents' house and he can move in there, and if they agree on that, then that would be the ideal thing. But I'm not ordering it at this point because she's been paying the mortgage. I'm not finding him in contempt because I don't have a petition for contempt down about the non-payment of it, but he's not relieved from what I previously ordered him to pay. He was under a court order, he owes it. But henceforth, the order that I put down regarding his child support is suspended as of today. There will be a new calculation of child support, and Mrs. Ingram is going to have to start paying child support for these children. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. And in my opinion, you need to shoulder some responsibility for that. The children will primarily reside with the father on and this is a temporary order. And I want you both to understand something. If I find that the best interest of your children is that they be removed from both of your care, I will do that, and I will not hesitate to do it. You know what I told your daughter? I told her that I think I've put about 10 people in prison for life on my career as a judge. More than that, 2 with life without parole. 1 person's been sentenced to the death penalty. And what I'm telling you is that I told your daughter that I don't hesitate to put somebody in jail or to send her to juvenile court if I had to control her behavior. And I will do that if necessary. And I'll do that to both of you if necessary. I'll put you both in jail. I don't want to do that. I want you to behave yourself, get your priorities straight, and start acting like mature adults instead of like you were 20 years old and didn't have any children. So what I want you to understand is that right now, I'm going to give you temporary custody. If this doesn't improve and things don't improve, I may very well put these children, order that they be removed from both of your homes and put into some other alternative living arrangements. That is a very real possibility. I'm hopeful that maybe this will change things for the 2 of you. She's not able to. She's having to deal with a lot of other issues, apparently. But the children will reside with her on every other weekend. They'll visit with her. You'll be the primary residential parent. You'll be responsible as the primary residential parent for ensuring that the children receive all of the medication that they are prescribed. That's another factor. All of your children are medicated right now. That tells me a lot. It may be that that's genetic. It may be that that's something because it's necessary to deal with what's been going on in this home. But Mrs. Ingram will help Mr. Ingram by turning over all the prescriptions. You're going to be responsible for ensuring that they meet all doctor's appointments necessary to keep their medication current. You're going to be responsible for all counseling that the children have been undergoing, and they will continue counseling. That's now shouldered on your responsibilities. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
And again, you're going to be responsible for ensuring that they get to that, and that they work on their education. And I'm very concerned about the fact that your 2 daughters, who appear to me to be very bright young ladies, albeit willful, that they need to try to do whatever they can do to salvage their education. They're 9th graders who are not going to pass unless something's done. You're going to be responsible for trying to help them with that educational issue. That means that I want to see what you can do to try to get in touch with the school. You haven't done anything thus far.
Yes, sir.
And it goes against my usual course of thinking that I would make you the primary residential parent when you've been so uninvolved and more involved in chasing women than you have been with your children. But your daughters want to be with you, and I'm going to give them an opportunity for some stability. So you're now going to have to make sure that they get the educational help they need. If that means tutoring, if that means it's summer school, I want you to do everything you can to ensure that there's if it's possible, for them to try to finish out this year and maybe go on to be a sophomore instead of having to repeat the 9th grade. Because if they repeat the 9th grade, you know whose fault that is? It's the 2 of you sitting here. You 2 are responsible for your daughters failing in the 9th grade. And I want you to see if that's anything that can be done. The educational system has counselors and other people that I think can help you with that. Neither of you will be allowed to consume alcohol when these children are present. Neither of you, I should not have to say, don't violate the law by smoking marijuana around these children, but I'm going to say it. Neither of you should, and this doesn't reflect whether I think, we're now being told they're going to declassify or deregulate some aspect of marijuana. The state of Tennessee, in case you didn't know, still says it's very much a crime to smoke or have marijuana in your possession. So if you have these children around, then you're going to have to obey the laws of the state of Tennessee, or I will suspend all visitation that you might have with these children. Neither of you will speak ill of the other. Another factor that I will tell you that I've been told by your children that you dog their father to them. You talk badly about it. They say he doesn't do that. It's another factor that I'm taking in, that I'm making a finding of fact that supports my ruling today. You're going to stop that if you're ever going to have a regular contact with your children, because I will have to suspend your visitation with the children if you continue to do that. Both of you will ensure that the children have phone access when they're with one of you to call their other parent. They can speak to the other parent at least 2 times a week, depending on what the circumstances are. That would be with Mrs. Ingram on the weekends when she has them. She'll be able to talk with that. Both of you will encourage these children to comply with this court's order, that they will abide by what I've ruled, and that they will visit with each of you and go back and forth without any kind of hesitation. There'll be no controversy. Calling the police, as many times as you two have called the police in this factor, what do you think that tells your daughters? It's involving law enforcement in a situation. They have better things to do, but it's also a situation that, in my opinion, makes a psychological impact on your children. And it's no wonder that they have such emotional trauma and such emotional upset that because the police have been called now, by my count, I think 3 times, and involved in just the last little bit. So let's cut that out. I'm not saying you can't call the police if there is a threat of harm to either one of you or there's a danger, but I don't want to see the police being used to gain an advantage in a lawsuit. That will not happen. If you can't control your daughters any more than that, you need to go to juvenile court and let juvenile court help you with unruly petition, which is apparently what's going on. And I think that's pretty much my ruling at this point in time, that we'll recalculate the child support and that will commence. We're going to have obviously future hearings in this case, but I'm not setting another hearing until after Ms. Smith has gotten involved in it. After she's gotten involved and she's communicated with everyone involved, I want her to have complete and full access to the counseling and to have the opportunity to do it. When we come back, I may reverse this again at a permanent hearing. It depends on what happens between now and then. If you want the children to remain in your care, then we will do that. Yeah, ideally, both of you could be equally involved in your children's lives. And you could set aside the concept you both moved on. You're both married still, but you're neither one acting like it. In any event, Satterson, I'm going to ask you to draw the order in this case. Is there anything I've not addressed?
Your Honor, I would just ask, I think it's a matter of convenience, just to wrap it up, when the child support is recalculated, Mr. Ingram would have owed specifically the months of March and April. And so I think the better part, so that we can just clean the slate, is once we calculate her support, an offset would be for the amount that he would owe her on the matters to do it. Now, and then secondly, the issue being is under the previous order, Your Honor ordered an additional payment on a temporary division of debt for him to make a payment on a car that I believe he wrecked, the 2024.
That part is not before me.
That
hasn't changed. I'm only changing the parenting plan and
Right.
the aspects. And yes, there will be an offset for what he owes. It'll need to be calculated.
She won't start paying him until the offset is.
She will not owe
exhausted.
child support until that's been offset what he owed but didn't pay.
And that will resolve that issue, and we won't have to come back on a contempt sanction, and I think that would be best. I don't think Your Honor would want to hear that again on either of these parties' part. But again, I just did want to make sure that nobody misunderstood, that other support order still remains in effect.
All right. You draw the order,
I will.
submit it to Ms. Roberts. I don't want it certified to me. I want it sent to her for her approval. Only certified to me if there's an argument about what it entails. And then Ms. Roberts can submit a competing order, and we'll be back here and hear why I should
I
sign
think
one
we
or
can,
the
I
other.
think council and I can resolve that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I have spoken harshly to both of you, and I have no ill will towards either one of you. I want you to both start thinking about your children first and your sex lives secondly, because your children have indicated that there's a little bit too much on both of your parts interest in activity with other people and that's that aspect of your life, rather than trying to be a good parent to them. And that's the thing I want you to think about. So let's start thinking about putting your children first and putting aside this animosity, because your children are at a precipice, and both of them are standing on the precipice for the rest of their life, the two daughters at least. And they're either going to go off there and they're going to be in trouble for the rest of their life, they're going to be self-destructive, they're going to be harming themselves, suicidal, emotionally wrecked, or they can get themselves straightened out by seeing their parents get their life straightened out. So whatever happens to them from here on out is on your shoulders. I've done everything I can do right now to try to protect them. From here on out, it's up to you. I hope you'll take this as a lesson that you can try to turn your life around and be more productive about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, the weekend, yeah, just to clarify.
We'll take a
This
short
weekend,
recess
this weekend.
before we come back and determine what we're doing for the rest
Well,
of the
we need to decide what we're starting the every other weekend, and hopefully we can resolve it. If we can't, we'll come find you.
No, we're going to start the every other weekend this weekend.
So she's got them this weekend because he had them
I
last
think
weekend with all
the
this.
children will go now to the father.
She
This
gets
is
Sunday on.
Wednesday. They'll be with the father until Friday, and they'll go Friday at 6 to their mom or whatever time is going on.
Today's Thursday.
Huh?
Today's Thursday.
Is it?
Yes, I'm sorry. Please don't make us relive it.
Well, where have the children been? Right.
They're with her, but he had them, this whole weekend thing happened this weekend, they were with him. So this would be her regular weekend, but given all of the stress that's
Bring
gone
these
on.
girls in here. Bring them
And Mother's Day weekend is next weekend.
If you want to flip flop them, I guess we're all in Thursday weekend. I mean, technically we'll get 2 weekends in a row, but.
We're going to let me just tell you, I'm going to have the girls come in and we're going to tell them what I'm doing so that they can understand. They want to get them. My opinion is that her weekend needs to start next weekend when it's Mother's Day weekend. That's just the way it's going to be. Now, obviously, you two have cooperated in the past and given each other some additional time. So that needs to continue. You need to work together. Come on up here, ladies and gentlemen.
Y'all going up there.
Let me tell you what I'm going to do so that you both understand it, all three of you understand it, okay? And I want you to understand, I listened to everything you told me back there. And right now, I'm going to put an order down that changes the situation. And you're going to be living primarily with your father, and you're going to visit your mom on weekends. And I've given some strict orders on every other weekend. In other words, I flipped the arrangement that you did have. And every other weekend, you're going to go to your mom's. And I've put down some orders that are going to control how your mom does things around you and so forth. But I need you all three to cooperate and go to your mom's and visit with an open mind. Now, I'm looking at you, number one. So I want you to understand that this is something that you're going to go and visit, and I'm going to order it. And I need you to help cooperate because it's really dependent on your parents to try to make things good for the two of you. You both, all three of you understand that? So just go into it with an open mind. We talked about that back there in the back, and I want you to all three understand that I'm trying to do what I think is the best thing for the three of you. So if you three will cooperate and let's don't have any more fussing or fighting, and no more running away. Okay, let's don't have any situations where you feel the need. If you feel like you need to run away for something, call the other parent, talk to them. You're going to have a lady, a really, really nice lady named Mickey Furlong Smith, who's now going to be your guardian ad litem. So your mom has a lawyer, your dad has a lawyer, you're going to have a lawyer acting as your guardian ad litem. Her only interest is protecting you and helping you. You understand that? So you're going to have a lawyer of your own to help you in this situation. So if something happens and you feel like, the pressure is too great, that you want to run away or you want to hurt yourself or you want to do anything, she's going to give you her telephone number and you're going to be allowed to call her and talk to her about it. And she will take steps to help you. Okay? Whatever needs to be done, if she has to call me or get me involved in it, she will. But she's going to protect the three of you. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So let me hear you all three say, are you going to do your best to try to follow what we're doing now?
Yes, sir.
I've done it for you at your request, so I'm going to ask you to follow through with that, okay? All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Thank you. You're free to go, and we're going to start you at your dad's house today, and then you're going to go to your mom's house next weekend for every other weekend. That's Mother's Day weekend, so it's a good time for y'all to go start with her. Okay? All right. I'll be seeing you. Let's move a little outside. Let's take a short recess. All right.